All right, you guys. I'm 2 minutes early. Hope you guys are doing good. Can everyone hear me? Waiting to see any thumbs ups. Can people hear me or no?
We can hear you, T.
Okay, perfect. Okay, there go my thumbs ups. Okay, hey, you guys. Hope you guys are doing good. Yes, shut that door because I'm having a Zoom meeting. All I hear is doors slamming around the house. But thank you guys for joining me tonight. This was a really important conversation. Me and Marinelle was talking about this the other day in the DMs, and she was like, we really should have an update because it's literally been an entire year since we've gone on this lockdown globally. And I don't care where you live, Ireland, Venezuela, New York, Ratchet, Florida, we've all gone through the same things as human beings with this lockdown, our mental health, our kids, just the things that I really took for granted that I just really miss. And I think for me, it really hit me this year around tax time. Because, when you run your own business, you got to calculate for everything, gas mileage, flights, and literally my there's barely anything to write off because where did I go? I don't know if other people can relate, but like usually I'm used to traveling, going here, going there. There's like really not a whole lot to write off because we've all been home. Even my truck started having issues. The battery was dying for no reason. I'm like, well, I just replaced the battery not even a year and a half ago. And come to find out, the reason why the battery was starting to go bad is because I haven't been anywhere. I haven't driven my truck. And so it's just like a cell phone that even if you have your cell phone, like if you're not using it, it still takes battery. You know what I'm saying? It's still draining power. And so when they checked my mileage from the time I went to go get my car fixed in August compared to last month, I had only driven it like maybe 500 miles in months. So, I mean, it's just taking a toll on just the way that we live life, the way that, we run around and just do different things. So it's been really crazy.
Teams appear ready for the fight ahead, and we were
okay. Please keep your microphones muted. So it's just been a lot of stuff going on. So before we get into that, I just wanted to remind people, if you did not see what I posted in the Discord announcement room, because I know we have a lot of new people coming in via YouTube, via emails. We're going to have some new IG people come into the Discord as well. Please make sure you check out the Discord announcement rooms because we were flooded with a lot of emails that were just kind of unnecessary yesterday. And it took up so much time that I wasn't even able to do a meeting yesterday because it's like we just had to spend so much time on that. If you're having issues, if you know you're having issues with your card, if you know that you don't get paid until Thursday, contact us in advance. It's so much easier and we can help people if we know in advance. If you contact us a week, 2 weeks before, cool, because that's just one email. But when we get like 30 emails at one time, and then people are emailing me, they're emailing Rejoice, they're emailing Marinelle, like y'all are emailing all of us the same thing. It's like, just pick one person because I'm helping you and then they're helping you. And we're not knowing that we're both helping the same person. And it's a waste of time. So just please be mindful, because we all have lives outside of Discord, just like y'all have lives outside of Discord. I have businesses and things I have to run. Rejoice is in school, Umbertone, Marnell, like we all work, so it's just like, please just don't add extra work. You know what I'm saying? I would just really appreciate that. If there's any issues, yes, contact us, create a ticket, but make sure you let us know before. Don't contact us the day of and now you need help, like that. Just let us know in advance. That's all I'm asking. So I hope that's clear to everybody. So I want to go ahead and play you guys some videos here that I had just been watching and just seeing things that are happening to the mental health of just, regular people and also children. So Vice did a really dope special. I'm just going to play a small bit of what Vice was talking about. And I'm going to also play a news special as well concerning the pandemic. Let me make sure I have them up. But it's just been a rise in everything from, just hopelessness, depression, suicide. And the children are really the ones suffering, like they're just living in this whole new world. And it's just really unfortunate because, for a majority of the kids now, they've already been conditioned. That's all they know is to put on a mask and hand sanitizers and stuff. Okay, Lexi, that's your second time, so you're gonna have to leave. Okay, they're out of here. Okay, like I'll give people a chance because accidents happen, but come on now, that's the second time. So come back tomorrow or whenever we have another meeting. So let me go ahead and get this set up for you guys here so we can watch this. I'm gonna share my screen. Y'all are laughing. Y'all know y'all got to get out. So let me go ahead and share my screen with y'all real quick here. So give me just a second. Okay, so I kind of time stamped it.
What we have right now is a pandemic layered on after.
Hold on, it's kind of, ooh, what happened? Hold on.
Failed suicide attempt.
It's like really low.
After that, she was in jail following a domestic dispute.
13.
It took a stay at a local hospital and months of treatment for her to begin.
There we go.
For the first time in the history of our country, in recent memory, we've had declining life expectancy. And that is largely driven by suicides and overdoses.
How have you seen COVID-19 impact people's mental health?
Over 40% of Americans have reported that their mental health has worsened as a result of COVID-19. There were a lot of people who had never really known what it was like to experience significant distress. And COVID-19 threw us for such a loop that people are experiencing new anxieties, new feelings of isolation. There are significant traumas. The economic realities put people in a really bad place. And then there are 20% of American adults who had a mental health issue heading into COVID-19. And for that group of people, it's exacerbated their symptoms.
Can you talk about the differences in these challenges in urban areas versus rural areas?
Yeah, we have many people in urban areas, in suburban areas, and rural areas who will say they're not getting the level of access that they're looking for. There are more concentrated shortages in the rural areas, but just because mental health professionals are in communities doesn't mean that a person is actually able to access them. They may have an insurance company that is unwilling to provide adequate reimbursement for mental health services. And those types of denials by insurance companies are a primary reason why access to mental health care is so limited.
Is it all coming down to money at this point?
I think hospitals are in a tough spot. And of course, we have a for-profit healthcare system. The safety nets that we do have in place for people who are uninsured aren't adequate. People need ongoing services and supports and a continuum of care when they leave the hospital to facilitate their reentry into the community. Hospitals are often discharging much sooner than they know is best for a person because of money. It's a failure of our overall system and our state. In certain ways, the mental health treatments have come a long way. We now have much more evidence-based treatment than we've ever had. We know what works to help a person with a mental health condition. But as a society and as a state, we don't do enough to actually link that person up with the things that work. And as a result, they cycle through the revolving door of the criminal justice system, of emergency rooms, of homelessness, right back into the community. And they don't get what they need in the community, so they end up cycling through once again.
So who can we talk?
So let me go ahead and play you guys this next video here. Give me just a second. It's so hard trying to do this screen share. It's different on Zoom. Okay.
this year, especially now that the holidays are upon us. Remote learning and social distancing have drastically reduced the quality of life for millions of kids across the U.S. because of the pandemic. The CDC has reported mental health-related emergency department visits were up 24% for 5 to 11-year-olds and 31% for 12 to 17-year-olds from April through October compared to last year. Ramani Dravasula joins me now. She's a clinical psychologist and the author of Don't You Know Who I Am? How to Stay Sane in an Era of Narcissism, Entitlement, and Incivility. Dr. Welcome, thank you so much for joining us. What losses have teenagers in particular experienced during the pandemic compared to younger children?
Teenagers have really lost out when it comes to peer relationships. In adolescence, peer relationships actually matter more almost than family relationships. That's where they get their reality checks. That's where they share their problems. So they've lost that. They've lost a lot of the benchmarks that are so significant in high school, graduations and proms, even how the things that they don't like taking standardized tests, going into a classroom, sharing ideas. They may complain about going to school. Teenagers actually don't mind as much as we think. We don't give them enough credit. They're missing out on dating, meeting new people, flirting. Those things are they're natural part of adolescence. This is a generation that's going to have lost a year to a year and a half of this. And there's all kinds of other routines that are part of adolescence. I don't know, sitting in your car and chatting with friends, parties, all of that has gone. And I think that's going to significantly impact teenagers in a different way, obviously, than it does kids. But also keep in mind, I think we often undersell adolescents in terms of how much empathy they have for their families. It seems like they're not empathic. I've got a teenager, I get it, but they are. And a lot of them are acutely aware of the hardships their parents are going through in terms of money, in terms of lost jobs, in terms of fears about health. And they're really struggling with that. And they often don't know where to take that powerlessness because they can't make it go away. And that can come out in so many ways. So I think teenagers in some ways are shouldering the burdens of both children and adults during this pandemic.
And what are the repercussions of that over the long term? Because obviously, the teenage years are sort of the bridge between childhood and adulthood. Mm-hmm. Are these problems that could, we could see crop up as they become adults, things that they weren't mm-hmm. able to deal with or develop through these crucial years? How will that affect their early adulthood?
There's so much uncertainty, Tanya. I think that's the biggest concern we have here is how much uncertainty they're living with. And the more uncertainty somebody has to struggle with, the more likely it is that they might go on to develop anxiety. And this anxiety can really track them into adulthood, where it might make them much more uneasy with other uncertainties as they come. The world doesn't feel like a safe place right now. And in some ways, we're building this in some ways, in all ways, we're building this airplane in the sky. So I don't even feel like adults are able to adequately mentor teenagers at this point, because I have to say, as somebody who works with college students, they're asking me questions that I've never even had to consider. So those of us who are supposed to be the ones giving guidance are also trying to figure out how to make the world feel like a more predictable place for them when it's not predictable at all. So I really do worry about the sort of anxiety that people are going to struggle with as they go into adulthood. And given how uncertain the economy is, they're wondering what's going to happen as I go into adulthood and try to find a job. I have a college-age daughter who's saying, I don't even know what kind of world I'm going into in terms of trying to find a job. And that kind of stuff actually does keep teenagers and young adults up at night. And so we have to realize we don't have those answers. Economists don't have those answers. And teenagers are struggling with this. So it may be a while before they find their footing and feel sort of fully secure as adults. All of us in the mental health profession know that one of the long-term effects of this pandemic, long after vaccines are given and we become healthy again, is going to be the mental health impacts. Just because we have a vaccine, just because we're no longer at risk, doesn't mean all of that anxiety, depression, and the other mental health impacts are going to go away. They may even become worse.
All right, you guys. So thank you guys for listening to that. So as you see, it's real, it's a lot of serious issues that is going on, not just for us as adults, but also the kids, the teenagers. And I think one thing about 2020, I think we all had some type of PTSD from 2020, everything from the riots and watching the George Floyd video. And even for me, dealing with the medical establishment, like I still have PTSD from everything that went on with being misdiagnosed, and the fact that what the guy was saying in the first part of the video, the psychologist, he was telling the truth. At this point, mental health and just your well-being, everything is about money. And when you have doctors saying that, oh, we can't see you, you can't come into the office, you can't come to the hospital, we'll diagnose you through a screen. That is just the stupidest shit I've ever heard. It's like, are you serious? And because I kept getting pushed to the side, and being told, oh, we can do a Zoom call. You cannot diagnose me via Zoom. And then to finally get in and get an appointment. And I like the lady literally looked at me for 5 minutes. The only thing she was worried about was getting me a COVID test, did not even take my vitals, did nothing. And, gave me an asthma pump, gave me a prescription, go get an asthma pump, and that's it. And then like not even a month later to wind up in the hospital. And they're telling me that if I wouldn't have came in, if I'd have waited one more day, I'd have been dead on my couch. Like, I still get PTSD from that because I think about all the stuff that I had planned, all the things that, I'm trying to get done for my kids, my YouTube family, my online family. And I think the part that really sometimes keep me up at night is that if I would have died that day, they would have just marked me as a COVID death. And everybody would have been like, see, she did have COVID because she was coughing on her live streams. And that was not what the issue was. The reason I was coughing is because I had so many blood clots in my lungs that my lungs were struggling to breathe. Hence why I was coughing and wheezing and couldn't even keep up with my friends when we were at the damn riots and all that stuff that went on in Minneapolis. So, that's something that's just really bothersome. And it makes me think, like, how many people were dismissed, misdiagnosed, and ended up dying, in 2020, only to find out that really what they died from was definitely not COVID. And it could have just been easily prevented if they'd been able to get the right treatment, if they were able to go to the hospital, so it's really sad. Even people with mental health, it's being reported that a lot of people are committing suicide because they're trying to go to the hospitals, they're trying to go to the ERs, and they're being turned away because it's like, oh, well, we're dealing with COVID, we don't have room for you, or you'll be fine, just go take your pills. And for a lot of people, it's not as something as simple as just taking a pill, so it's just really unfortunate, just a lot of the stuff that's gone on. But I really want to do this stream to give you guys a chance to talk about, what all you guys went through mentally, emotionally in 2020, even now in 2021, because it hasn't let up. And what are some things you guys are doing to like help relieve stress and get your mind off of some of the things. And, the main thing I want you guys to know is that you're not alone. And the same worries, the same fears, the same anxiety that you have, just know I have them too. And so do hundreds of people that are on here watching, so it's not anything that you have to feel like you're in it by yourself, or, am I not really a man? Am I not really strong enough because I'm stressing about money or don't know what might happen with my job? That is okay. We're all like that. Even me as a, YouTuber, influencer, I don't feel comfortable depending on YouTube like I did maybe 2 years ago, or depending on anything. And now it's just all about saving, because it's like, at this point, nobody is, nothing is secure right now for anybody. I don't care if you're an influencer, reality TV star, if you're a fry cook, if you do customer service, nothing is guaranteed. So that's a worry that so many people have. And like they were even saying, for us who have kids, I'm like, what kind of future is going to be for my kids? I have a kid in college, but what job does he have to look forward to? You can give them pep talks and try and tell them that it's okay, but it's really stressful. It's just really stressful when you think about just some of the stuff that's going on. So let me go ahead and bring on show Diana 98. Go ahead and unmute your microphone, sis.
Hi T, it's Shudiana.
Shudiana. Oh, I like that. That's pretty. Shudiana.
Yeah, my parents are exotic. I don't know, for some reason they decided that name, but
where are you from?
I'm from Sierra Leone.
Oh,
that's
okay.
a made up name.
It's not even Sierra Leonean?
No, it's a made up name.
Oh, so y'all do that too?
Yeah. All my names are made up.
Okay, well, I like it. It's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you so much for really I've been watching all the Zoom meetings during the quarantine because it's just been really tough.
Mhm.
And coming here as an African, like not knowing the culture about different things like colorism and all that, I had to learn all that from you, which because I had no idea what the whole thing, because I'm from Africa, it's different there.
Mhm.
There's not it's just different there compared to the US. So a lot of things I've learned from you, taxes and money and all that. So I really want to thank you so much for that.
You're so welcome. You're welcome.
And also, so for me during the COVID quarantine, that thing really affected me
Mhm.
because at first before quarantine, I wanted to go to therapy just to talk about things that I've been going through. But being African, my parents they don't really believe in therapy.
Yeah.
So it's like I was really scared of going to one because I didn't want to get my parents upset. But then again, my mental health was really important to me. But I went to one session and just bailed after that because it was just a new concept, and I have trouble trusting people. Even though she's a therapist, I still have trouble trusting people, just telling them about my business like that.
Mhm.
So I didn't go to that, which I wish I had finished. So during the COVID thing, I got really frustrated and stressed out. And I'm not good when it comes to sharing my emotions. People talk to me about that, their own problems, and it's just really exhausting. Always when people always tell you about their problems. It's not that I don't like it. I love it, but at the same time, it's just really exhausting because you're taking in there taking a lot of energy from you, and it was just too much for me.
And especially when you're an empath, you're absorbing
Exactly.
energy.
Like mentally, it
Mhm.
affected me so much. And I didn't want to tell them not stop, because they were going through hard things and I wanted to be that friend for them. But I just had to take some a step back and did some self-care, put myself first,
Mhm.
because if I had not done that, I think I would have just gone crazy. And thankfully, I spoke to my parents about traumas that I went through as a child that I never told anyone. Which of course they're a little upset that I didn't tell them I went through those things like abuse from some family members and all. Which that's one of the reasons why I don't trust people like that, because my own people were the ones who hurt me as a kid. So that kind of just stayed in my mind forever, that everyone is like that.
Mhm.
But during this COVID thing, I was able to talk to my parents about it, and they're so open, which really surprised me. They were so open. We had a session, so they're like my therapist in a way. So every Sunday they will call and we'll talk about it. They'll ask me how I'm feeling, and I'll talk about something in the past, and they'll apologize, like we're really sorry
Mhm.
for not looking for the signs and symptoms. And one of them was my uncle who did something to me, and that was my dad's brother, and my dad apologized, and it's like, yeah, that's something he would never forgive his brother for. And which he didn't know I had to, because the story my uncle told them was totally different from mine, so they never knew the truth until I told them. So the COVID thing really helped me, and with the Zoom meetings you're having, that all just helped me. And even though I was taking online classes, that was not easy as well.
Mhm.
But I just had I had good support system that helped me move through it, and I was able to be a support to other people. So yeah, it was not easy at first, but having my parents and my boyfriend and my sister just to help me and just talk to me. They know that I'm not that open, so they know how to pull the words out from me. So I really appreciate that. So yeah, thank you, T.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for calling in and sharing that. I really appreciate it. All right, so let me go ahead and bring on, let me see here, Ashley Nicole. Ashley, if you want to go ahead and unmute your microphone.
Hey, can you hear me too?
Yep, we can hear you.
Hey, oh my goodness, it's my first time talking to you. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm okay. So, I just wanted to talk about the whole depression thing
Mm-hmm.
with COVID. My best friend passed away actually yesterday, 4 years ago, after giving birth to her son.
Mm.
And her sister took it really, really hard.
Mm-hmm.
And about a year or two before that happened, her mother had passed away. So she's dealing with a lot of stuff. And she ended up taking her life last year in April in 2020 because she just couldn't take, I honestly think the isolation is what took her over the top with the COVID, having to stay at home and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So her daughter, like, baby, go sit down. Her daughter is always crying out for help on Facebook. You know, it worries me because she says things that makes me feel like she's going to take her life as well. So I know this depression and COVID and isolation is a real thing. I've never known anybody who's taken their life before all this happened. So that's all I wanted to say.
Well, thank you so much for, for sharing that. And yeah, it's a lot that's going on. And especially, people use social media sometimes as a way to act out, not necessarily because they're bad people, but because they don't know what else to do. And they're looking for like attention and help and things like that. So, I mean, just be that listening ear for her on Facebook and reach out to her and, just continue doing what you're doing, checking on her, making sure she's okay. Because that's one thing I've always stressed is that so many people, it's very easy to assume that your situation is everybody else's, or to assume that everybody, when they go home, they have a husband, a wife, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, 2 kids and a dog and a cat. That's not everybody's reality. One of my best cousins, she went through a separation and, when she goes home, she's just home by herself. So it's like, just making sure to call her and check on her, because it's hard when you go home and your home is empty and there's no one else there. Even here, sometimes in my home, I'm by myself because, the kids are older now. So they kind of leave and do what they want. And it's just me, so it's just like, that's why I always say, just check on people, even the ones that you think are so-called strong, check on them. Because sometimes that strength is just an armor and a facade for the world, but they're really hurting, lonely, and depressed, when nobody else is there. So let me go ahead and bring on, I want to try and bring on some names that I haven't talked to yet, ever. Yanni 0273, go ahead and unmute your microphone, Yanni.
Hi, T.
Hi.
Hi, yeah, my name's Tatiana.
Okay, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I just wanted to say, like, I have anxiety. My husband and I haven't really had to do any of the lockdown or anything because we work for UPS.
Okay.
So we've always, like nothing's really changed with us. Even my family, they were already working from home and stuff like that. So like we didn't have to deal with any type of loss, but we still had stress because we were still trying to, it was like trying to deal with the fact that we still had to go to work and things, which was a blessing. Don't get me wrong. But our hours last year, it was like peak season. Like it was like Christmas from basically March until the end of the year. And so it being that stressful, I had to realize, figure out a way to deal with my anxiety because I have 2 toddlers too. So it was like, I'm going to work. Nobody's wearing a mask because they weren't making anyone do it. And, I was the only one doing it. It was all these things. And I'm worried about my kids. I'm worried about my family. We all have the high risk. I have high blood pressure. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that I started doing was taking ashwagandha. And it's a really good stress reliever. And so like, I think that's really what I wanted people, I wanted to say like that, like something to add on top of everything else that they're already trying to do to deal with their stress and depression, try and do another supplement. And that's really all I wanted to say, just because like that, I'm big into supplements, like, if you can't deal with things, if you don't have anyone to talk to, sometimes taking an extra natural thing is going to help you out.
Right. Well, thank you so much, sis, for that. I appreciate you calling in.
Yeah, thank you.
Definitely. Let me go ahead and bring on Z31093. Go ahead and unmute your microphone. Z3. Okay, I don't know. Maybe he doesn't hear me. All right, let me pick somebody else. Piglet. Piglet, go ahead and unmute your microphone.
Hello.
Hi, Piglet. How are you?
Good. Good. I wanted to thank you for creating the Discord. It's really a safe place, and we're all able to express ourselves while no anything trying to stop us.
Oh, you're more than welcome.
But the pandemic was horrible for me. On January 26th, I became homeless, and my foster family kicked me out. So during the whole pandemic, I was struggling to find a stable place for me to stay. And doing housing programs, went to a house program, staying with friends, just a lot of moving around and being on my own now. And I finally found me a stable place to find in July.
So you found a stable place now?
Yeah, my college, they create a housing program. I can stay here until I graduate, until I get my associate's degree. I just had to have a stable GPA. But it was a
lesson.
Yes. It was just like during the pandemic, I had to use to those people now no longer being in my life. I used to celebrate the holidays with them and everything, birthdays, Christmas, Thanksgiving. Now just by myself. And I had to adapt it to that.
Well, I'm glad you're here. And I'm glad you kind of become kind of like your makeshift family.
Yes, and I'm only 20. I'm doing this, I'm 20 years old.
Yeah, you know, and it's, we all go through our challenges, you know, in life, and everything you've gone through, not only this year, but just, you know, being in the foster care system, it's also just going to build you up to be just even a even stronger individual.
Yes. I'm trying to go to medical school, become a doctor, you know, do I lead out to do and stuff. Yeah, it's very hard. This last year was very hard. It was a very dark place.
Well, I'm glad that things are starting to look up for you, sis. I appreciate you calling in.
Thank you.
All right. We'll talk to you later. Let me go ahead. I know we have a lot of hands up, so I want to try and get to everyone. Let me bring on Rizzy Roz. Oh, another name just disappeared. I don't know where she went. Okay, there she goes.
I'm here.
Hi.
Hey, hey, everybody.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Thank you for selecting me. I didn't think I was going to get selected because I talked to you before, but I was hella nervous. And I'm finally like on a regular tone. So thank you for hosting this, and, you know, just for giving all of us a platform to kind of share like-minded thoughts and feelings. And honestly, that was probably when I first called the first time, it was that fear that I was feeling, this fear of this call, just the unknown, knowing that we don't have answers to a lot of the questions you were asking earlier. What is the future going to hold? What job are we going to be doing? What will life look like after all of this is quote unquote over, which is not going to happen for another 2 years or so. You know, just kind of, I guess, wanted to give my perspective on what COVID has been like, and, you know, just maybe another outlook to kind of look at it as. Because to be really honest, things weren't great for me before COVID. They were actually really, really hard. Just giving background, and I'm pretty sure a lot can relate, but I recently found out, and through being on, you know, isolation or whatever, that I do have a lot of empathic abilities that I didn't really tap into before. I was used to like stifling them. So all in all, I was doing a lot of things for a lot of people that didn't really deserve it pre-COVID. So I was running myself kind of on empty, and at a point where there was no more to give. And I've been watching Peak Prosperity, which is another channel that covers a lot of resilience, covers a lot of self-sufficiency as far as planting, gardening, and just being resourceful, straining your own water, maintaining your own crops. If your light goes out, what can you do to source light and different things like that. It's not a very popular channel, but because of my husband's job, he actually put me onto this group, and it's just given me a lot of perspective as far as, trying to do for yourself, trying to make things happen for yourself. Because I was always so busy doing it for everybody else, feeling everybody else's pain, feeling everybody else's issues, and honestly ignoring my own. So, and why I say that is because I had a lot of death happen earlier. Like my father died when I was 17, then my brother died when I was 30. And a lot of it was depression and things like that. So my family, I should say, is all in shambles. My mother literally left the country when COVID happened. I haven't seen her in a year. So I don't really have a lot of close family. This literally YouTube and Lovely T, you are like my sister, like I told you before. You're my fire sign, and you're the same sign as my sister. It's just hilarious how awesome you are. And not having that connection, it definitely left a lot of it left me cut off from a lot, and it left me cut off from a lot of friends, so-called friends. And listening to your last live, when you were talking about, the friends you expect to call, the friends you expect to check up on you, because you're always checking up on them. You're always making sure everything is good. Oh, you started a business? I'm there at 6 a.m. to come and pick up and do whatever needs to be done. I was that friend. Come COVID, I told and warned everybody about it. Not one person has checked on me, like literally not one. And this is like family, friends that I grew up with since I was like 10. So I say all that to say, I did definitely get a really big round of depression, and it all just brought me closer to God, to be very, very honest. Right. I'm not a social media person. Like YouTube is probably the extent of my social media. And I got to a point where I was like, okay, I don't like the fakeness. I need to work on me and get me right, and get my mind and mentality right. And although I have had loss, I've had many family members actually in Guyana that have passed from it because they didn't believe it was really a thing at first. And my family in Guyana has sickle cell. So I had like 3 members pass away very early on, like May last year. So I was kind of like mentally preparing for it. And I've had other family members get sick and pass. But to be honest, like I really have a crutch on God. I have a crutch on just making sure that I'm keeping myself right. So what I started doing, and it was honestly because you started the intermittent fasting last year. I started that around the same time, and I got into it. And then I was just like, let me just set goals for myself and make a routine. So I make sure to work out 7 days a week. April 1st, I will be at a year. I've never done that before in my life, and was always heavy, was always overweight. I'm now like in a reasonable weight. I lost 35 pounds. And that's literally from you being inspirational and saying, hey, let's go do this. And we have ebbs and flows. It's not perfect. I'm not, every day aiming for every day. I don't want to do it, but it definitely set a routine, and it definitely put things into perspective to give myself the treatment that I've been giving everybody else for 36 years. Amen. And I can only tell you, like my husband, everybody in my life, I just started going back to work, sees a difference. And I can only attribute it to, like I said, the resilience of Peak Prosperity. Please get on that channel if you're not watching it already. They will give you a lot of like perspective, especially the financial climate of where we're heading and what's going to happen. But
the first ones that were also talking about COVID.
Yep. They were the very, very first ones. January, I think 29th, we saw the video and we're like, what? And then I think you were literally that night or the next day. And I'm like, oh, okay, something big is happening. Yeah. So I had the mindset, like, let me get ready. Of course, we started stacking food, storing, getting a generator. We started doing all of that from before, but, not knowing what's to come, and literally sleepless nights, freaking out. I think we all have experienced that. But it's definitely been keeping a routine. I'm not going to lie. It's definitely weed. Weed helps a lot. You know, whether you smoke or edible, but it can help.
Look, I used to see everybody popping up on camera and their heads like, yeah.
My husband's right here like, yup.
Everybody's head was like,
hey, and it's keeping that COVID away. I don't know, knocking on wood, but going to the gym and I haven't caught it, knock on wood. That's all I'm going to say. And essential oils, believe it or not. And I mentioned this in the chat, but I don't know how many people saw it, but it's so gimmicky and it sounds so cliche. And I know a lot of people don't know about it. Educate yourselves.
Get a diffuser.
Yes.
Essential oil and diffuser water.
Yes.
That's the most relaxing thing. I have a diffuser kit and it holds 50 essential oils. And then I know how to mix them to make different fragrances. Honey, I'm the oil queen.
I love it. Yes. I absolutely love it. So please share. I'm sharing the wealth with whoever I can tell.
She has hers.
Yes. Like I'm telling you, and get good oils. Don't get just, it's cheap, it's on sale. Like get the oils that are sourced, that are organic. Mm-hmm. They make such a difference. I see lavender, tea tree, lemongrass, all of those hit amazingly. And I put on like an oil for immune, just because I am going back to work and, going around people again. So like those 3 things, they can really change your life. Like doTERRA is the best. That's what I use. Thank you, Just Marky. doTERRA is amazing, but definitely look into those 3 things. That's what I would urge to everybody. And I'm so happy to hear that you are using essential oils. One day I want to just send you some mixes just because, but I'm always mixing stuff for people. And just get on that natural tip because we don't know what tomorrow is going to hold. Mm-hmm. And we can't control it. There's nothing that we can do to control it, but we can control how we react to it. We can control what we're doing in our house and just try to get our minds as elevated as possible. So that's all I wanted to share.
Well, thank you so much for calling in, sis. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, T. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Hey, T, did you, my bad for disturbing, but did you call on me? I had stepped away.
Yeah, we did call on you. Hold on.
Okay, I'm sorry. I stepped away from it.
Let me turn on my video. No, you're fine. But I want to kind of hold on real quick. I want to kind of piggyback off of what she was saying when she was talking about being in love with God. It reminded me of that old Destiny's Child song. When Michelle was like, "I finally found a new love." So I can't sing. I finally found it in God. Y'all know what song I'm talking about? I don't know the name, but I know it's Destiny's Child, honey. Look, somebody write the name of it, but that's what it reminded me of when she said that, because one thing about just a lot of the stuff that we've all been through this year with COVID is you really find out who's really there for you and who really cares. And, people will call you and use your energy. And I'm to the point now where I'm really disappointed in one of my friends because I've watched them go through so much. And when you have a friend that you talk to like literally almost every day, and then once they get better, it's like those phone calls stop. It's like, well, damn, you know what I mean? Like, what happened? Like, I'm glad you're doing better, but now I done absorbed all your energy and all this stuff you're going through. At least give us an update. Like, are you okay? Are you good? So, when you have people who do that, yes, thank you, Phoenix, energy vampires. And I go through that a lot. Because it's like on top of having to deal with my friends and family in the real world, then it's like email, tweet, DM, like everybody's issues coming my way. So never feel bad or never, ever feel guilty from stepping away and saying, look, you're draining as hell. I don't want to talk about your issues anymore. Because if you're not going to leave that situation, that means you're comfortable in it. And I'm not going to worry myself about something you're not willing to change. Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about your kids or your job, but don't allow people to use your energy. Don't allow people to have you racking your brain trying to give them advice just for them to turn around and not use it and find themselves in the same situation. Understand that everything that you put energy into, you should be receiving that back tenfold. And if you're putting your energy and your time into somebody and you're not receiving anything back, let that go. You can still maintain and be friends with them and be cool with them, but you just have to know where to take it. So there's certain people, you can't call me for advice. Good luck to you, go Google. because you're not going to waste my time and my energy when I know that there's somebody who wants the advice and they're going to take it and implement it. So never be ashamed to do that. So let me go ahead. Z3, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, T. I want to first say thank you for bringing us content. I got first introduced to you in 2017. I was junior in high school.
Okay.
It was one of your first videos. You really actually were the first one to actually hit on the colorism topic, and because a lot of times in our community we don't tend to talk about it as much. And I was introduced to you via another blogger, Impressive. I don't know if you know, that's a they recommended you in the comments, and it was 4 years ago. But now I've loved your content, and I really love your growth and where you are today.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
But what I would like to add to the conversation is, well, I'm in Texas. I'm in Dallas right now, in the neighborhood of Oak Cliff. So if anybody knows where that is at,
okay, I don't know if I've been there. People always say that's the hood.
It is.
Oh, okay.
Not
I'm not
really,
trying to be rude. I just hear it in songs.
No, it has, like, how every hood has their nice parts, and
I know.
Yes. But but
I was
no,
hearing it in songs and people were talking about it, because ain't that like around where Boosie got shot? I was hearing that.
Yeah. Yes. I stay
I know
over.
this. I should know this. I ain't even.
Yeah, it's several blocks. I stay right here. It's a home in West Oak Cliff off of Keith. Anybody from Dallas knows. And it was 2 blocks down on Ledbetter. So that's where he got shot at. And that whole Mo 3 situation, as far as that, it is so messy about how many, like, because people are just snitching on, as far as like the streets are talking in Dallas, they just snitching on themselves on social media. Like, social media will be the end of some of these people. And just, with this what they call it, e-banging. But okay, my bad. We just went into the rapper stuff. But as far as this COVID, at my job, I work at FedEx. So I'm in like logistics, and I was at Amazon. I had left Amazon because when like a group of us, it was like 40 of us when we got hired in June of 2020, about 5 people died from COVID.
At your job?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, wow.
And this is Amazon in Coppell, Texas. It's a suburb of Dallas by DFW Airport. And so I left and I went to Chewy, which is owned by PetSmart. I worked there, and the way they were saying you had to do testing annually, like at most jobs, and just start, what was it, the temperature checks. But what's surprising me is I asked all the HR, and they told me, because now I'm at FedEx currently, they said we didn't have to get the vaccine. I have now signed 3 forms by HR. What was it? About, they call us essential employees, but they have yet to pay us essential pay. Amazon had to do it because we protested them.
And you know what's so crazy about Amazon, and I know people probably get mad because I keep my foot on Jeff Bezos' neck, is that him and like a few select billionaires, they've literally broken the record, like between him and Elon Musk, with how much money he made.
And Elon is, I'm sorry for you, but Elon is now in Austin, and the way they've gentrified, because I have a lot of friends. I'm currently a sophomore at Texas Southern. Shout out to all the HBCU people. The whole side of Austin, basically, like, it's a major highway. It's called I-35. I think I-35 goes to Minnesota, I believe, maybe.
Yeah, we do have 35 here.
Yeah, so it goes all the way from, I think, Canada to Mexico, and it goes through Texas. So it also comes through Dallas. And one side of 35, so west is the white part, predominantly west. That's where the mansions, all the stuff, they built it out. And the other side is East Austin, and they've completely gentrified it. And when I tell you, when the power went out, with the outage, the East Austin was all dark.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, it was all dark.
Power and water to like all the more lower income areas, but all the rich areas, their lights, water,
like that,
ran fine.
Yeah, and it ran fine. And so many people lost their fingers. In Austin, Houston, Dallas, a lot of those homeless people, they all lost their power. My friends who are because Texas Southern, it's in Houston, but I came back home last year because of COVID. What was it? A lot of their pipes burst at their apartments. Even one of the dorms, I believe that they said a pipe burst and it flooded out a lot of their stuff. And the saddest part about it is, my friends were young, and everyone is saying they're not. Basically, everybody's preparing for, not just with my friends in college. They're all saying stuff won't be covered. Like even my family, they're nervous because the pipes burst in my home. So that's why I'm in my other family home and in Arlington. And when those pipes burst, we're just nervous that are they going to cover it? Because FEMA and our insurance, we go for State Farm, they've yet to get back with us.
And that's probably because there's so many, claims
and
so much happened.
And it's so many people trying to scam right now. It is sickening. Fake contractors popping up left and right trying to fix stuff.
No.
And, people showed their true colors. People at gas stations were selling stuff all around Texas. Water, $7. Gas was going up to $3. And mind you, Texas right now, gas is like $2.20 something to $2.40 something. So it was very sickening.
I heard they were selling cases of water down there for $20.
Correct.
And that's the thing that happens when it's like a tragedy or disaster. You have the good, genuine people who really want to help, donate, bring things, but then you have people who try to take advantage during these tragedies. And that's just sickening.
And yes, that's really sickening. And the fact of the matter is that even with all of this, they're still worried about the COVID vaccine. For the love of God, it's like if and this is where it gets iffy. I just made a word. Is iffy a word? I don't know. But why is a vaccine because it's a real virus, it's a real pandemic, but why is it like, I saw words in the media used as excitement, like, people are excited to get the vaccine. And I remember watching the conspiracy theorists, they were saying it won't be them forcing it, we will be asking for it. And it's like
they don't make it so uncomfortable that by the time they let that vaccine, you're going to be begging for it because you just want to go back to normal. And that's been the reason why they've done all the stuff that we've been put through.
Yes. And I'm like, literally, they texted me about, you're considered essential. FedEx right now, they consider me essential, but they don't pay us like we're essential.
Right.
They be sending people home. And mind you, I'm in college. I don't have I have family, but I don't have no kids. They were sending people home because it's very wicked how it's like basically at the warehouse is competition based. So, once they make their quota for the day, they just send people home. Like if they only need 500 people, go. People drive like an hour to get to this warehouse, and this is in East Dallas off of 20. And just to see how people are like, I have kids, and they're like, not our problem. And what's very damning is it's a lot of minorities that work there, and they get a black face. And I've been noticing this, even with COVID, they get a black face to like give black people news. Like, is that supposed to make us comfortable? I don't know. Like even with the doctor, it was that, remember when the doctor in New York got that vaccine, she was wearing the purple gloves.
Oh yeah, and they made her get the vaccine first.
Yes.
Well, I mean, who was that? The old black man. Sorry, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. His name is just not in my head. He played. I think he played baseball. They done brought him out the damn retirement home, shot him up with the COVID vaccine. He died a week later. I said, my God, y'all could have let that old man just doing what he was doing. And then they try to say, well, it wasn't the COVID vaccine that killed him. He was just fine before they gave him the shot. Was it Hank Aaron? It was an old black baseball player in Atlanta.
I think Hank
Aaron. I said Gary. Hank Aaron. And he died a week after they gave him that COVID vaccine. I'm like, why did y'all wheel him out here to use him as a prop for the black community? They had him on PSAs and everything.
And I'm surprised that they haven't gotten celebrities yet, because I'm like, they're forcing it on just the casual people. And I'm like, in due time, I bet it's finna be like, I just can't, I'm over like the hip hop community. I love hip hop, but I'm just over like those hip hop, like a Diddy. I just can't. And I just feel like they finna be like, get your COVID vaccine and you can get a bottle of Ciroc.
Yeah.
And
They'll be
it's
doing
and or Jay-Z be like, get Ivy Park, you'd be cool. Like they're gonna try to, I don't know how they're gonna do it, but they're gonna try to make it cool.
that.
Or they make people, because now a lot of people are like, anti-maskers are white and black people equal. Okay, so like how they were saying like all these anti-maskers, like they're causing the pandemic to go back longer. I feel like the anti-maskers are going to become the anti-vaxxers. And so now people who may not want to get the vaccine are going to say, it's your fault that we're not going back to normal.
Wow.
And I feel like that's what's going to come down 2021.
It's going to be interesting. Well, thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you too for letting me come back to the Discord. I appreciate it. And I hope I can spread more information. And my bad for taking too much of y'all time. I appreciate it. Love y'all all, and y'all be safe.
Thank you. You made so many good points. Marianelle, you can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Let me see if my background is okay enough to be seen in this goddamn video. Let me see how far you guys can see. Oh wait. Oh my god. There you go. Can you?
It keeps moving. I don't even know where you're at.
Okay, that means that it's a good thing.
It was here, then it disappeared.
That means that it's a good thing. My background must be a mess, and I'm okay with you guys not seeing that mess. But anyways, hi guys, I hope that you guys are doing well. I just wanted to chime in about one particular thing. I think there is a group of people that have suffered a lot during this pandemic that people just don't talk about, and that is single people. Like single people, we're just going through it just as everybody else is. Like, it's really harder for us because we're on our own in the house and we cannot even go out to meet people. And of course there is like the website, the dating website. But I don't know about y'all, but during COVID, I'm not about to go meet anybody in their house. I don't know if you're the killer. I don't know if you're a sociopath. I don't know if you do have COVID and you've been quarantining. And I think that people don't talk about the single people who's been struggling a lot during this pandemic. I don't know about you, but I just wanted to chime in and talk about that quickly, especially because most of us, it's been a year. And I don't know how you guys are holding on to it, like being single during this quarantine, not being able to, one, see your friend, two, see your family, and you don't even live with someone inside your house to talk to or to just, take your frustration out of them, which what we do in most couple, I believe. Anyways, in my couple, that's what we used to do. But I just wanted to chime in and tell you guys just to keep your heads up. And during that time, I know it's hard, but try to focus on y'all. I know when B. Simone said that, most of you guys drugged her, but she wasn't lying when she said, just focus on y'all and becoming a better person so that you guys can attract a better person when you guys come out of this quarantine. But in the meantime, just focus on y'all and keep your heads up and don't be discouraged. I know it seems like it's a long time, but as soon as the quarantine is over, I'm pretty sure that, we all can be okay. But I just wanted to share my pain with some of y'all quickly.
Well, thank you, Marinelle. I appreciate it.
Let me go back to hiding my camera because my background is a mess. There you go.
All right, let me go ahead and bring on Wayne Nizzle. Wayne Nizzle, go ahead and unmute your microphone.
Hey.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, family. I hope everybody's doing good.
We can't hear you. You sound far away.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, that's way better.
Okay. Stupid Apple laptop. Anyway, so during this quarantine, I'm not gonna lie, I went through a horrible breakup, but I mean, it was good because he was toxic. And once again, we don't do the Pisces. Ain't that right, T?
Well, let them know.
We don't do those. So I'm happy that I'm over that. I did lose a lot of friends, but although like I did lose a lot, I feel like I did gain something, and it is myself. And I feel like that's the best thing out of all. Definitely built a better connection with God again. What I do is now, like before I go to sleep, I go over these highlighted scriptures in my Bible app every night. And, you know, just to put some word on my heart, give me words of encouragement and things like that. I do yoga now too and meditation. And also like people that kind of give me like energy where it's like they want to wallow in sadness and, you know, just always think of the negative. I just been cutting them off, and it does hurt me a lot. And like it does bother me because it's people that, you know, I've been knowing for years. But it's just like at this point, I don't care. I'm at the point where it's like if I have to cut you off and like, you know, just get you away from me for my happiness, I'm cool with it. Because
Right.
I'm like some people, I don't want to be the richest. I don't want to be the most beautiful. I want to be at peace. Point blank period. Ain't nothing more, ain't nothing less. And if you're in the way of me getting my peace, you gotta
I agree.
go. Like prime example, I had a conversation with a friend yesterday and I was saying, like, you know, I feel like you're starting to show a lot of addictive behaviors. And I'm a pot smoker, guys. So shout out to all the stoners out there. And like I felt like this person was kind of using it as a way of not only dependency, but always like, you know, the need of having it is because of every so other excuse. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, oh, in order for me to talk to people, I have to smoke. In order for me to sit down with my family, I have to smoke. In order for me to sit in the classroom, I have to smoke. It's like, bro, like I'm one of them people where it's like I could be in a cipher and you know I'm cool, like you know, and if I'm sober, I'm sober. Like it's not that deep, and I'm damn sure not one of the people that'll spend my last on it. You're crazy, no. But you know, I just had to tell that person, I'm just looking like, listen, if you have to be high all the time to act normal, I don't want to be around you. And me as a person, like I knew all of the things that he was going through as well. And I had to also tell him, like, I'm not about to sit up here and watch you self-destruct and allow you, you know, to wallow in this because I know you're better than this. And I had to deal with that with another friend. It's just like, you know, I felt myself being a lot more honest than what I usually am. Like I'm always honest, but it was like I was being too honest, but I needed to get off my heart. So I
Right.
feel like with this quarantine, it's like I did some cutting off, but I also gained myself and also gained my sense of honesty, especially with myself. I'm like, you know what? One thing I do want to keep working on, especially during this quarantine, is forgiving.
Mm.
I tend to hold grudges sometimes, especially like with people that I know that they could do better, but like you know they just don't, and also people that do wrong to me, and it's like I know and I expected it, but it's just like I'm still mad. But it's like in order for me to fly and get that peace and get that happiness, I can't hold on to that.
You gotta let go of that baggage.
I can't hold on to that baggage.
Right.
You know? And I just feel like, you know, this quarantine, even though it did have some sadness and darkness, I feel like that there's still light at the end of the tunnel. And also another scripture that just came to my head just now. Anxiety weighs down the heart, but a kind word cheers it up. That is from what is it? Proverbs 12:25. And it gives me like inspiration on speaking positivity and manifesting, you know, good things in my life. Because just like you always say, T, and also I've been saying it too, like the things you speak into your life will manifest.
Mm-hmm.
You keep speaking death, you keep speaking just anything that's just not good for you, it can come. Rather, it's right here in a moment, a week, a month, a year. It doesn't matter. The things you speak into your life and what you put into yourself is the same things that will come out. But
Facts.
yeah, that's all much I got. And one last thing, T, you need to check out the show, The 100.
The 100. I haven't heard that show.
Oh
There's so
man,
many shows I be getting thrown. Watch this show, and then it's like I try and go and watch it. And I watch one episode, then it's watch this show, and I run to go watch a different show. I haven't heard of 100.
oh well, I could just give you like a quick little background on it. Somebody putting the thumbs up saying good show, I think.
Yeah, I see a lot of people saying that. Is it on Netflix?
Yes.
Okay.
It's like, first of all, my college dorm mate at the time, she actually put me on. When I first watched it, was just all these kids in space and everything, and then they get sent down to Earth and they start going through all these trials and tribulation. But like as you watch it, like it just shows you how humans are when we interact with one another. Also, what are we willing to do to survive? And it kind of goes into a lot of things to today, especially with this whole, you know, spacecraft things that they're doing. Like I just seen on Instagram earlier. Oh, that's another point I'm gonna make, but I'm gonna keep going. There's a hotel that they done put in space now.
Oh yeah, the billionaires are not buying up space.
Yeah, and I'm
Buying
like,
property on space.
and I'm looking like, so instead of y'all just cleaning up and making things right on where you live at, you want to run to space. yeah, you could go. I'm gonna stay right here, because I wasn't the one that messed it up anyway. But even social media, and this is my last point. Um, I had deactivated my Instagram for about 2 weeks now, and it helped me also learn about taking moments for myself and really just allowing myself to enjoy it just with me. Like I just got my driver's license. I got into an honors society program that's going to help me transfer back to another 4-year university. Just a lot of couple things. And I just felt like I kind of caught myself like, dag, like now I know what it's like to really share those with just me instead of having to tell other people like, hey, I got this, and oh, look at what I got, and ooh, and stuff like that. I feel like sometimes people kind of look at others to live through them and also feel the need to validate themselves by constantly posting what they got. And it's just like the more I've been keeping it to myself, it's just like the more I feel more accomplished within me, and I don't care about what somebody has to say. Now, don't get me wrong, it doesn't mean I don't want to be critiqued or I don't want nobody to be honest with me, but it's just like it feels better when you did something for you and you don't have to prove yourself to nobody but yourself. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
And
Well, thank you so much for calling in, sis. I appreciate it. You made a lot of good points. Definitely. Let me go ahead and bring on Caddy 95.
Hello?
Hi, how are you?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hi, T. Oh, my name is Khadijah.
Oh, Khadijah, okay.
Yeah. Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for making me for the Zoom meeting and everything. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I'm a little nervous.
Don't be nervous. So what did you go through during COVID, and what are some of the things that helped you overcome it?
So at the beginning of like 2020, I was like, the ending of like 2019, I graduated from college. So the beginning of 2020, I was like looking for jobs. I was applying for like interviews. I was going to interviews. I wasn't getting anything, but like around March, I applied to Target, and I got like, I think like 5 to 4 days later, I got the Target job. Once I got like the Target job, it was like during literally like the week after, that's when like COVID was like really hitting in like New York. I live in New York. I live like further up New York. So I started working at Target like at the ending of March. And I'm still working here almost a year later. So it's just working at Target during the pandemic. It was crazy. I'm not gonna lie, but I mean, now it's just like it has like been calming down, but during last year it was just like crazy, especially when we were like limiting like a lot of like the items. It's one of the most like items that we were limiting was um like the hand sanitizer. So during like the pandemic, like last year, like we didn't have none till like I want to say by the summer in our store, and like we were like limited for like one person, and like every time I worked like near like the registers, so I had to like I always see like a couple of people would come to the store try to get like hand sanitizers, the disinfectant wipes, cleaning supplies, and they'll try to get like a lot of them, and I had to like tell them that you could only get like one or two. And some people, they'll like say, yeah, okay, they'll give it to me. Or some people, they will just get really like mad or get like a straight attitude. And I'm just like a really like nervous person. So I'll just like go to tell my manager just because I didn't want to deal with them and everything.
Well, thank you so much for calling in and letting us know, what you went through during COVID. I really appreciate it, Khadijah.
Yeah, thank you.
You're very welcome. Let me go ahead and bring on Prince William. I see he's drawing away. What are you drawing, Prince? I see an eyeball on the screen, then I see a person.
I'm drawing house moving castle. I was thinking that you weren't gonna call me tonight. But so like what happened with COVID last year, so let me you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We can hear you just fine.
Okay. So what happened last year with me was before COVID and everything happened, within February, I lost my aunt due to she had like some sort of disease where her heart was pretty much just slowing down. And
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's okay. I had to go to the funeral and things like that. And then the night after my aunt's funeral, my grandmother died on my father's side. So it was a lot to be dealing with because within like that month, the month of February and March. And as soon as the funeral and everything died down, happened, and it's within like March, COVID-19 happened. And I ended up getting unemployed due to the whole craziness that happened. And it was just pretty much pandemonium and things like that on what am I going to do? Especially, this is my first time losing my job. And it was just a lot, especially with the whole unemployment and thing, getting unemployment compensation and stuff like that. It was like nobody really told us anything. We had to like find out through Facebook groups and things like that. And it didn't help that I had lost people in my family. So it was kind of like horrible. Sorry if I sound nervous and things like that.
No, you're
but,
fine.
But it's just like losing, it was a terrible feeling to be stuck at home because they were basically telling everybody, especially in Atlanta, that you got to stay at home. You can't go outside. You can't do this. You can't do that. But it's the worst thing to be stuck in your room, not able to go anywhere.
Right.
And deal with just grief like that. Not like having to lose not only one, but two people in your life. Well, it was just, yes, ma'am.
No, I said, I'm really sorry to hear about that. I can only imagine.
Yes, ma'am. And this is around the time when I started finding your videos, and your videos really did help me go through the whole depression and grief and everything like that.
Oh, well, that's good to hear.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. But thank you very much.
Definitely. And thank you so much for calling in.
All right.
Let me go ahead and bring on Kyle Terrian. No, just bullshit.
Yeah, that's me. Just my first name. Yeah. How are you?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Yeah, I'm also doing better.
Good.
Yeah, thank you for actually starting this Zoom call, and also for yeah, your lives, and yeah, it's really entertaining. And yeah, COVID is actually, yeah, it's interesting for me. It has its ups and it has its downs. I achieved some things in 2020, but I've also, yeah, been through some, yeah, terrible things in 2020. I think I've probably been in the darkest time of my life. I mean, it's just really crazy. And I'm currently having a burnout / depression. So that's actually really challenging. And yeah, now I'm trying to get back through it. And I'm having a great support system, great family and friends.
What are you burnt out from? What are you burnt out from?
Oh, from work and all of the stress of COVID basically as well. That basically was the one thing that made me, yeah, go over the edge basically, or just, yeah, that was kind of it. I've always had this mentality of you have to go through things and everything will be fine. And yes, you're having an off day, but during COVID, I kind of realized, no, it's actually not fine at this point, So then I needed to take a step back from work. And fortunately enough, I do have a permanent contract. So I was able to, yeah, leave sick basically, or on sick leave. But there are a lot of people who do not have that type of privilege as well. And that also, yeah, is something that I'm also grateful for. And I'm also currently having like a really good psychologist who's actually helping me. But there are also people who are going through the same thing that I have, and there are waiting lists from 8 till 10 weeks. And some people that I know are literally suicidal or having like a bipolar disorder or another type of mental disorder that are really serious. So it's really crazy. How I go through COVID basically is just talk to the people that I love and that give me, you know, positive vibes. And working out is also something that's a great outlet for me. And trying to remain positive and, you know, just don't focus too much also on the negative aspects, because before I was also very much into getting into discussions with people and stuff like that. But now I kind of realize, especially during COVID, people are just so sensitive if you actually say something that's not politically correct.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, oh yeah, you sound, yeah, it sounds familiar.
I'm the queen of offending everybody, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Oh
just,
yeah, same here, you know. It's just so draining. And as soon as you say something that's not politically correct, for instance, over here in Holland, people are just like so like for the rules, and they follow every type of medical professional. And you know, on one thing I can agree, you know, certain aspects I cannot talk about. I mean, it's not my expertise. But there are also certain parts that just don't make any sense, you know, like all of these lockdowns and stuff like that. Those are really serious, and the psychological aspects are not taken in consideration. And there are also certain things that are just common sense and are just logical, you know, that you don't have to look at it from a medical perspective. From the moment we actually had like a lockdown over here, you could already like tell, because there's nothing you can do. There are no activities. So people don't have an outlet. So of course that's going to affect your mental health.
Ain't that why y'all was burning stuff down like 2 months ago? They was in the streets.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was crazy. That was because
Yeah,
of the
Harlem
fact
wasn't playing. They took to the streets and was rioting, burning stuff down. They were tired of the lockdowns.
it is. But I also will say is those are, I would actually use your word, agents of chaos.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something that never really happened before. I think this was one of the worst riots that we had in 50 years or something like that. Because
I believe it, because I was shocked. I was like, because when the people from Holland started DMing me,
yeah,
I'm like, Holland, don't y'all mean LA? Like, wait, it's usually America that's always, you know, on the news for riots and crazy stuff. And it was like all these Hollanders that I didn't know who followed me were all DMing me, sending me videos. I was just shocked because, like you said, most people in Holland, they're very PC. They, you know, follow the rules. And I'm like, wow, it must, you know, people have reached their tipping point. They really have, you know?
Absolutely, you know, and the crazy thing about that though was that it has something to do with the curfew, because the curfew is something very sensitive in Europe in general speaking, because it has something to do with the Second World War. And yeah, that's something, was a very sensitive topic basically. And there were a lot of parliament members who actually disagreed with it in the beginning, and they were actually against it. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened. There was this proposal from one of the parliament parties that actually said, and they were actually all for liberty and stuff like that. And they introduced the curfew, and everyone, or almost everyone, kind of agreed with it. And then it was incorporated. And that's when everything just went crazy. And a friend of mine, because at one part where the riots actually took place, she lived behind it. And she said it was like a movie. It was insane. like what you saw on the video was exactly what happened. It was nothing like framing and stuff like that. It was crazy. So I also checked up on her, but thank goodness she was all right. But yeah, it was definitely scary. And yeah, it's just getting more crazier, I think, because we're also approaching elections. And I see a lot of parties at this point that are, trying to, I don't know what they're doing, but they're having some type of political agenda. And because they weren't here for the people during the debates and stuff like that, they weren't representing their people, basically, their voters. And now all of a sudden, they're now, they're saying, oh, the curfew's bad, and they were having so many economical damage and stuff like that. But that wasn't the case a couple of months ago. So it's really getting scarier, to be quite honest. I don't want to be pessimistic, but it's not something good, to be honest.
Well, thank you so much, Kyle, for calling in and just, letting us know what's going on in Holland.
Yes, you're welcome.
Yes, and definitely take care of yourself, okay?
Thank you. You too, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So let me go ahead and bring on Radiant Sunshine. Miss Radiant.
Hey, T, how y'all doing?
I'm doing good. How about you? How was that move to Texas?
Girl, I ain't moved yet. I told you the end of this month, but now they trying to schedule me for a surgery. I got to go see the surgeon at the end of this month.
Okay. I'm sorry to hear that.
I don't know. But I just wanted to speak about the whole mental health thing because I too suffer from depression, and it's been a lot worse over the past 2 years due to my issues with my back. And I was one of the people that didn't like to talk about my feelings and things like that because I feel like people really don't care. They tell you they do, and when you start telling them, they really don't care. Because I've been telling a few of my friends that I've been going through things, and truth be told, I don't think I spoke to them since September. So I've come to the conclusion that it's just me and my kids and my grandkids and y'all. I come and hang out with y'all. But that's it. And I just wanted to tell everybody that's going through something, just keep your head up. And I've been listening to Tony Jones on Spotify. One of my favorite songs she sings is Noah's Bay. And if you don't know about Tony Jones, I suggest you go to Spotify and listen to Noah's Bay. And you'll understand why that's my new favorite song. And it'll get you through a lot of days. But that's all I wanted to say. Y'all keep your head up and we'll get through it. We've been getting through it this long.
Amen. Well, thank you, sis. I appreciate you calling in.
All right. And I was cracking up laughing at them hammers the other day, but y'all have fun.
They're so messy in that chat. People love to beg to come back on the Discord and they just act like they don't know why they were kicked off. They have no idea. I'm like, honey, take it up with the bot gods. Yeah, it's above me now. Let me go ahead and bring on Papa Color.
It's never gonna get easier. All right. So, all right, I wanted to talk about my experience really quickly. Technically, 2020 was the most lucrative year I've ever had. Financially, I've made the most money, but I'm a licensed funeral director. So,
oh, you're a funeral director?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So, work was nonstop for a while. I live in New York. Fortunately, I live on Long Island though. And although we didn't get hit like the city got hit, when we did get hit, I live further out east, more country-like. It was rough for us because we just don't have the backing like the city had. And they were trying to pull us into the city too, because we have funeral homes out there. But my boss, she refused. We could, we made it through without even having any extra help. Gosh, it doesn't matter. This is like, spoke to you before, I'm still nervous.
Don't be.
It just, you say the name and I get nervous. But mentally, and we talked about this last time we did talk, like how I can't like kind of really engage with my friends anymore because they talk about things that are more superficial.
Mm-hmm.
And because I've seen what I've seen, and I still continue seeing it, like I talked to my coworkers about it, and recently we're like, although it's nothing like it was last year, our numbers are still higher than they were the year prior. And it's a lot. We haven't had our funeral home. There hasn't been a time yet where we haven't had a body, like it hasn't been empty in a while. And it's hard. It's kind of funny because, you know, and my job, there's no way I can talk about mental health because one of the other directors, she was talking about how she's talking to a therapist and stuff, and you know, she's taking medication because of our career, especially, you know, what we went through last year. And my colleagues, some of the boys, they were just like, why would she talk about that? And literally today, me and one of my colleagues were talking about how I don't know, it's still stigmatized, especially in my industry. And my industry is very unfortunately misogyny. That's very prevalent in my industry, and especially where I'm at in Long Island. But I did want to talk about prior to, because something happened. For Christmas in 2019, I bought my husband a trip back home. He's from Italy, and he was supposed to go in April, I remember. And fortunately, I was able to cancel that trip as soon as we saw what was going down in Italy. I'm just like, why are you even going to go there when clearly shit has hit the fan over there? So I booked a flight with Delta. I was able to get my money back. That was before like everybody was trying to get their money back. So I got it back pretty quickly. Thank God. But yeah, that's all I basically wanted to say was that I'm sorry, it's hard. Even I wrote down notes again, and yet and still I can't keep it fluid. But yeah, I'm tired. I'm tired. I can't I don't know.
Let me ask you this, sis, as a funeral director, and forgive me if I mix stuff up with like mortician, funeral director. Do you just direct the funerals? Or are you working with the bodies?
I personally am the embalmer, so I work with the bodies.
Okay, so you work with the bodies. Okay, so let me ask you this. How do you feel when people say things like COVID isn't real, this is made up? Because it's very real and people are dying from it.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel as somebody who, like, you're seeing this firsthand?
Girl, that's why I got off of Facebook. I can't even talk to my family no more. You know, because you know, when people were saying all that reckless stuff, especially on Facebook, all my family and friends, I was just like, I wrote what I wrote, and then I'm just gonna leave that there. But I just thought it was utter nonsense. What we saw when we have never, like, we are here to serve the community. That is what a funeral director does. You serve the community. And even again, being in a more rural area of New York, we had to turn down families that would call us and tell us like, look, we've already called like 3 other funeral homes. They won't take our loved one. People that were dead in homes, dead in hospice, they were there for hours upon hours. It was insanity. We never turn away families, never. And yet and still during the height, back in April, the anniversary is about to come back up. We're still triggered, like saying, I'm sorry, but we can't help you. Because if we would have taken those bodies would have been on the floor. And although there was funeral homes that were willing to do that, willing to collect as much money as possible, my boss wasn't down for that. Because when we would pick up bodies from some hospitals, they would be piled on top of one another in trucks. And we have to rummage through those body bags trying to find the body, the person that we had to pick up. So yeah, no, it's very bothersome when people say that it wasn't real or something. And I get that, although we had a lot of death certificates that did state COVID, and I know for a fact, obviously, out here, our medical examiner's office, they weren't even touching those bodies, but yet and still, they're saying that, they were COVID related, even though those body bags were never open again. So it's been very weird. It's just, my industry is just strange to begin with, but COVID has certainly, it's something else.
Yeah, because I knew people in New York who contacted me about their family members who died from COVID, and they were in the house 4 days with their mom and their dad in the bed. And it was very real, and these are people that I know they don't have anything to lie about. They have nothing to gain by telling me something so personal. But people don't understand that, this was stuff that was really going on that a lot of people were going through. you know, and it's just, and I just hope for you and your mental health, you know, that you're okay as well, and you're able to talk it out and talk to your husband and people, you know, that are close to you that understand. Because I couldn't even imagine when, like you're saying, usually it's a percentage that you deal with of death, and then for it to skyrocket to where you're having to turn away, that's heartbreaking. I could only imagine.
Oh yeah, no, it was bad. And then also, you know, I deal with bodies. I see bodies all the time. You know, that's just a normal thing for me. But when you see caskets in a row like that, you know, just stacked, they're just, you know, we because during, you know, the height of COVID over here, doors were locked down. Nobody could even come into the funeral home. If you needed us, you had to call us. You know, there was no, you know, doors were locked. You know, they said nobody could come in. They got to call us. So obviously all those families, nobody got to see their loved ones again. So we used our chapels because our area where we do the preparation, where we do the embalmings and stuff, we would never have been able to hold all those bodies that we had. We had to literally use the entire funeral home to organize and get everybody. It was, I can't, without an image, I can never explain to anybody what I went through. And I appreciate you and the Discord, obviously, because I'm so grateful that I get to talk to you, and I'm so happy that you schedule these Zoom meetings when I'm available. No idea, because again, it's been hard for me to talk to my family and friends, because when you're not a funeral director, you really don't know what we go through. My husband, like, although very supportive, you know, and unfortunately he lost his dad at a very young age, and it was pretty tragic. He found him dead on the floor, just 16 years old, in his house. So this, you know, we're in our 30s now, so this happened a little while ago. So death, he doesn't really mess with it. He doesn't really like to talk about it really. But I do appreciate you guys, and I'm very grateful for you. And you'll never understand. You just won't. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, sis, and thank you for calling in. Yeah, that is just so touching, and you know, and that's why I said, like, we never know what people are going through behind the scenes, you know, or what their jobs entitle, or, you know, just who they go home to. You know, some people don't have anybody. So that was just really interesting to hear her perspective, because, you know, a lot of times people try to dismiss the numbers, or we get so bombarded with the numbers. Like, after a while, it almost became not a game or a joke, but every time CNN would be like, oh, now it's reached 100,000 dead, 200,000 dead. You know, it just became numbers. And to have her tell her testimony that those numbers equal a real person, a real family that was affected, and and even took a mental toll on her and her coworkers. So thank you so much for that, Papa Color. I appreciate it. Let me go ahead and bring on Just Marquis. Just Marquis, go ahead and unmute your microphone.
Hey y'all, hey.
Hi.
I was a little bit more excited. It's Pisces season. I'm sorry, sis.
I know it is.
30, March 9th. Come on now. So Papa Color is right. I get nervous. It's been a minute, but I love y'all. Hey. I just wanted to talk about two things really fast. You were speaking when this first started about how kids are going to adjust to school when, you know, when the next year happens, or just going back now, because I'm in Illinois currently and we are open. My city actually opened up their public schools, and my daughter was going to a private school that was already open. It's been open. Okay. So I actually was not comfortable with it. And then when I did consider sending her back, my mom and my stepdad got COVID. So I was like, no, I'm gonna wait a little bit longer. And so now I'm like, okay, well, she goes to a year-round school. Let me go ahead and send her back. She has been stimulated to the best of my ability that Minneapolis Public Schools gave me. I use those tools, and it's time for her to go back. So I called them, and they were like, well, we would have to do an assessment, and even if we do an assessment, she will not be able to come back now at all. Even though, you know, the middle of the school year is going on, even though it was a pandemic, they didn't care. They also did this with a couple of other students. So they're saying if they're not up to standard, then they will have to repeat the 4th grade. And it's like, well, dang, like, I feel like, and I mean, I don't know, someone, I don't know. It's just like, I feel like we have all tried the best we could as a parent. And it's like, even the kids who've been doing virtual learning, y'all gonna hold them back too? You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like you guys should hold that again. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
I've been hearing
we're
that.
doing literally.
I talked to somebody in Texas earlier, one of my friends, and they're saying that in some of their daughter's classes, she's in 3rd grade, and then in other classes, she's considered a 4th grader. So like whatever they're struggling in, they're keeping them back a grade. And then it makes the parents feel bad because it's like, well, damn, am I a horrible parent? Because, but like I told him, I said, well, you can't even blame yourself. I've done math, and science since I left school.
Okay.
Like, my job is not a teacher, like that's not, my job. I don't know 7th grade algebra. I just don't. I'm not good at it.
Baby,
So
they
it's like
talking about decimals.
Yeah,
they want you to do long division. What?
Mm-hmm.
Come on now, baby. I can't do it. You got to go back to school now, baby. I mama did the best I could to help you. You have to go now.
Yeah.
It's in their hands, And then it's like, like I said, way back when we first had these Zoom meetings, that I had to quit my job to do this for my 9-year-old daughter and my 4-year-old boy. So now it's like, okay, I want to go back to school to help with my, my future, to, provide for y'all. And I can't do that because they won't let y'all back in school. And then when I try to send y'all to daycare, they say, oh, well, you got to already be going to school, having them classes already started. And I'm like, well, I can't enroll until these kids is taken care of.
Right.
So it's like, it's an ending cycle. It's a never ending cycle. So what I've been doing, I told y'all last year, I've been meditating. Of course, I pray. Still doing that. I try to pace myself more. I try to be more sound and just stop rushing. I think when I rush, I trip over myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just trying to listen and rest. I've been saying that a lot, but like for real, I've literally, even with how I've been handling my child, both of my children, and it's like, when this has happened, when we first started, I'm sorry, I'm nervous. Why am I nervous?
No, you're fine.
I'm sorry. When this first started, it was just like, okay, y'all, I'm tired of y'all. I'm still tired of them, but it's just another way how I'm just trying to think about it and walk through it. Maybe it's not time for them to go back to school, but I do feel like they're not supposed to hold that against these children. I don't think that. Things that they do need help in, I do feel like I agree with that to an extent of what you said your friends' children is going through, because it's like, okay, my daughter may be only struggling in one subject or one segment of that subject, so I don't feel like you should hold her back the entire year for that segment, or you know what I mean? So yeah, especially with all these children, they're all struggling, and it's not just my child. Like they said, they had to do that for a couple of children who's been gone through the quarantine, and they wouldn't let them back.
I know even at my son's school, the youngest one, they let a few kids back because it was that bad, where they just could not cope with the Zoom. Like they're so easily distracted, or they just be on Snapchat not paying attention. So they did bring back like a few kids, like, okay, obviously the whole Zoom thing and the distance learning is not working for every child. It's very hard to just concentrate and be there when you have so many distractions, your PlayStation and this and that, and you're at home. So he just went back to school after almost 3 months. He went back to school for the first time yesterday. But then he didn't have school today. Then he has school tomorrow. And it's just like, can they just go back to school full time?
Exactly. And then
like
it's
all these half days and it's a lot. It's just a lot.
definitely
Even when they go back to school, it's not the same school. It's not the same program. It's not the same thing that they were used to before COVID. So now they're in class for like an hour and a half as opposed to like 45 minutes. And then, the teacher's lesson plan is only for 40 minutes. Then the rest of the time, they're just sitting there on their phones. So it's just like, they're not learning what they need to be learning. And that's the part that's why I say, I just feel like it's just something so much bigger than just COVID.
Like, at least I'm trying to get my child back into school so she can get the ending of this and come at least try to end the year, the school year that she couldn't start something, you know what I mean? And because she goes to a year-round school, y'all act like she finna get out. In Illinois, they get out in May. She's not finna get out in May. She's gonna get out in like July. So why can she not go back to school? Like you said, why are you guys trying? Like, there's a bigger something going on.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, something ain't so in the butter.
For calling in, Marquis. I really appreciate it, sis.
No problem. Love y'all. See y'all later.
Love you too. Let me go ahead and bring on Ria. Ria, go ahead and unmute your microphone.
Hey T.
Hey Ria, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good.
That's good to hear, especially during all of this. I really just want to take a minute I've been hearing everybody's stories and it's really impacting me. So I'm sorry if I'm a little like, because I'm really feeling like everybody's stories, what they've been going through. And what everybody has been talking about has really encouraged me. So I hope that, what I have to say also encourages someone else. A little bit of background, I'm someone who suffers from very severe clinical depression. I've suffered from it ever since I was 8 years old, and into my middle school and teenage years, I guess I caught a batch of like mild anxiety is what they call it. And COVID for sure has been, I think, one of the most trying years I've ever had in my life. Interestingly enough, I made some money in the beginning of the year, but it didn't last very long. Let me tell you that. In the beginning of 2020, I was just exiting high school. I was a senior. I was class of 2020, so of course I didn't get to graduate. I didn't have my prom or anything like that, so I didn't have any of those good moments. I literally just had to show up at my school with like 4 teachers in math saying, here's your degree, have fun, bye. Diploma. Since then, I really wasn't tripping too much about COVID, but at a certain point, once we got more into it, I think about March or May, that's when I started to really feel the effects as far as my depression goes. At first, it was fun because I didn't have to go to school. I mean, what teenager really wants to go to school, right? So us being like out of school, I was just like, oh yeah, sure. But come March, May, I really started to get that kind of inkling, which is, I don't know what to describe it as, except it's basically a sign when I know I'm going into a depressive phase. I get the little inkling. It turns out to be just a little bad day I have for no reason. Then that turns into a week of bad days, like the headaches you get out of nowhere. You start to cry in the morning for no reason. It's just been hard being isolated from my family. I haven't seen my grandparents in almost a year. They were in my life almost every day. I haven't seen them in a year. I had to move out of a very stressful situation. And that was hard enough. With COVID, my whole family lost their jobs. I even lost my job. My brother lost my job. So moving was really hard. I moved in with my boyfriend now. And like everyone else said about COVID has really shown me people's true colors. I moved into this apartment with 2 roommates. Other than my boyfriend was my cousin and her boyfriend. And me and my cousin had been super close. We were practically sisters almost. And I had to kind of get on them because they were kind of hoarding their money. And I can understand that we are all going through a hard time, working really hard because COVID has, put us out of our jobs or like lessened our hours. But it gets to a point where it's like, enough is enough. They were not paying anything on time and leaving basically everybody else to feed them, put a roof over their heads. And I finally said something about it. What does my cousin do? She spreads a rumor about me. So you can kind of already see where it's like the depression is building up over time with all these bad things that start happening, the isolation, not being able to see your family. Then you turn to some family that you think are going to be there for you, and they really aren't there for you at all. And oddly enough, I've seen COVID turn some of like my best friends into almost my worst enemies. People that I thought would be there for me when I'm going through these hard moments in life were not there at all, or just completely like flipped the script. And it got so bad, like with money, we got put out of our jobs again, and my boyfriend, he got all his hours were lessened. So we tried to like get our apartment to sympathize with us basically, because there's no way we were gonna like make our rent on time, and they didn't give two shits. They wanted their money. So eventually that forced us out of our home. And if there's anything I want to say to anybody is like, even though we are isolated, please go out, like talk to people, find people you can talk to, because if I didn't find the lady that I am renting from right now, I would have been like homeless on the street. And that's the truth. Like, just that I had this friend who was looking out for me and was like, here, I'll rent you this room out for $650 a month, I would have been fucked, to put it lightly. But I guess the climax of all this is that ever since that happened, I was working super hard. My boyfriend was working super hard every day, like 12 hours a day, trying to like make up what we lost, battling with the apartment. And even now we're still battling with him about costs and whatnot. It's all kind of hit me 2 days ago. And it's like really emotional for me, but I had, I think, the worst breakdown I've ever had in a couple years. All the hours that I've been working, the finances, not being able to take time off, trying to like pay off debts and whatnot, it got to me. It got to be really bad. And I know a lot of people in the comments are like, yeah, try some weed, and that has helped. But when you're battling depression, it can be an everyday thing sometimes. I had to, the breakdown that I had was so bad. My boyfriend had to take off work 2 days just now to like come and watch over me. And he had to pull me inside and be like, no, you need to take a break from working. You need to do some self-care. And just 2 weeks ago, I was saying the same thing to him. He was working so hard, his whole body was hurting, and he wasn't in the best place mentally. I had to take off, Valentine's Day and say, hey, let's have this time for ourselves to do something. So if you guys are struggling with anything, please take the time off to just do whatever you like to do. I know, like, being in isolation, the one good thing is that I've become more spiritual. I'm a real astrology freak. I've always been. So that's my thing. I believe in that. I'm not a Christian by any means, but my Nana has always preached to me about Proverbs, which I do recommend people read. Even if you're not a Christian or anything, there's some really good lessons in there that I think everyone can learn from. My favorite is 10:12, which is hatred stirs up strife, but love covers all offenses. And that's helped me honestly get past all of kind of the betrayals I've had from my family. During this pandemic, I got a little diffuser that, fills the whole room with scents. I've gotten into sculpting, I sing, I listen to music. There's so much that you can do. And there really is. And even this Discord, I talked to some people who have really like helped me get into certain things like planting, which is amazing. So please take every opportunity that you can. If you do have clinical depression, like me, or even if you don't, you feel like you're reaching like a burning point, don't be afraid to talk to somebody about it. I feel like what I could have done differently to avoid what happened to me 2 days ago was talk to somebody instead of just keeping it inside until it reached a breaking point.
Well, thank you so much, Ria, for calling in. I really appreciate it, sis.
All right, love you guys.
All right, have a good night.
You too.
Let me go ahead and bring on, let me see, Kibra Moore. Kibra, go ahead and unmute your microphone.
Hey everybody, how y'all
Hey.
doing tonight?
Good. How's everything going on down there in Texas?
Actually, as we were on the call, I just got a news break that said that the governor actually the mandated passed. They wanted to go back 100% business as usual. Maybe
Why do I
about
know that? I heard about that at like noon. I don't know why I know so much Texas tea. So, yeah, I heard about that. That y'all don't have to wear no mask. They're opening up back 100%. I said, wow. Okay.
I'm wearing my mask. I don't care what they say.
Mhm.
Today when I got off work, I went to the gas station. I don't know why I'm doing this detox and trying to lose 13 pounds. And I went to the store to get some water and ended up buying me some apple Mentos. So I was in there and I kid you not, I could not tell you how many people came inside the Shell gas station without a mask on. And I'm like, okay, like I live in a small little city, but still, you don't, I mean, you can get cold from the gas station by putting your hand on the handle, you know what I'm saying, pumping gas in your car. I've heard it happen before. But I wanted to talk about, I'm not gonna stay long because I know you know, you got a lot of people that's waiting. I want to talk about when we was talking about depression. So last year in March, when pretty much when we came home for spring break, we never went back. I'm pretty sure that happened to a lot of guys. And so I remember I live in a really, really hilly neighborhood. And I used to go outside and I had to make myself go outside because I didn't know what was wrong with me. I'd be like laying up in the bed because I was, you know, laid off from work or whatever. And I would be looking at commercials and be crying. I'm like, why am I crying at this commercial? Like, what is going on with me? So I went and talked to my doctor and she was like, do you think it's because of COVID? I'm like, I don't know. I've never been like this before. So she was like, I'm gonna, you know, get some blood work done to you. So I got some blood work done. Everything came back good. Then she came back and told me that my vitamin D was low, that it's supposed to be about 50%, and it was like at 8. And she said, well, that's why you're going through depression. So she gave me some Prozac, started taking the Prozac, started feeling a little better. So then I got out. I don't know if you know, but I'm in a wheelchair. I'm in a wheelchair from, I was in a car accident some years ago. So I would get in my wheelchair and I would just get out the house. And sometimes I go roll 2-3 miles up and down my hills in my neighborhood. And it got to the point that people that know me in the neighborhood, they started doing it. They started putting in the messenger, hey, I mean, on Facebook, on our group in my neighborhood, you know, if you want somebody to roll with, you know, let me know. But it wasn't that I didn't want nobody to roll with. It was just my mental thing that I had to do to get out the house. Because we get so complacent, we're in the house, you start thinking about crazy stuff. I can say I start thinking about crazy stuff. You know, I'm not gonna speak for nobody else because my mind was thinking about some crazy stuff, you know. And then I had a teenager that was his first year in college, and then he's back home. I'm making him, he can't work at the moment because of COVID. And so it's like, and my husband is stationed in New Orleans, so it's just us. And then we bumping heads, you know, because he can't do nothing. And he's like, every little thing, he's a vampire, sleeping all day and then up all night, you know. So then I'm one of the ones that work in the school system. And so, you know, with the whole Texas thing, it is just, it's just really crazy. And I don't understand, as like the young lady was saying earlier, Pop of Color that works at the funeral home, you know, I can just never imagine, you know, what she went through to see that. And then, you know, when they report on the news, like it's nothing. Like you were saying earlier, T, oh, it's 100,000, oh, it's 200,000. Like, it's like, oh, I got some water today. I mean, they're just making it seem like that was the thing, you know, the thing to get. The thing, you know, like the latest, y'all know what I'm trying to say. But so I am on the list to get the COVID vaccination. And so because I'm 18 years old and I have a disability. And for Texas, they only get the COVID vaccination once a week, which is on a Monday. And so today I just happened to call to see what my name was on the list in my area. And she was like, oh, for your area, y'all only got 16. I said, for the whole city, you got 16 vaccinations, and I was like, okay, that's crazy. And so, but yeah, that's it. That's just what I went through. I'm good now. Look, I'm not ashamed to say I take my medicine because I want to be okay. I take my medicine every night. As a matter of fact, I'm about to take it now. It helps me. I'm in a better mood. My husband and my boys can tell when I'm not on it. They say I be acting crazy. But you got boys. Your boys like almost the same age as my boys, so you know how boys are. And so, but it was good talking to you guys again. And I just, continue to pray that we all stay prayed up. And, we here a year later, we are still here. And I love the Discord as well. And I'm glad I'm still blue and all that stuff. Because I get paid on the 1st and the 15th. So I ain't got to worry about nothing. So I'm good.
Well, thank you so much, sis. I appreciate you calling in.
All right. I'm going to still be on. Okay.
Let me go ahead and bring on Ashante Yesenia 23. Go ahead and unmute your microphone.
Hey T.
Hi, how are you?
I'm okay for the most part. It's finally nice to talk to you. I'm so nervous.
Don't be nervous.
But first of all, I want to say thank you. I've been following you for a while. So that was good. And you're for like one of the only YouTubers I ever watched.
Thank you.
So I appreciate that. So a little bit about me. I do suffer from anxiety and depression already. Like I have major depression disorder and anxiety disorder, but I also have a lot of immune disease too. I'm like you, have autoimmune disease. I also have a blood clot disorder. So like having COVID or dealing with COVID was really scary. And I was doing really well for 2020. And then like my bad luck struck because every year on New Year's Eve, I like get something's always wrong with me. Like I either burn my hair or I get hit by a car or something. There's always something wrong with me. So I end up getting COVID from working. I'm so serious. New Year's Eve is like my bad luck day. And so I ended up getting COVID, and it really took a toll on me. Like I think I had it for like 4 weeks, dealing with it. I got so low, I couldn't get out the bed, I couldn't move, I couldn't breathe. I ended up going to the hospital 3 times. I was admitted, and I had to be there for 4 weeks. So it was really difficult. And I actually got it from work because I am a nurse. So like I couldn't not work. And really like a lot of healthcare workers like got COVID. Like in my area, because I'm from Peoria, Illinois. And so like a lot of our nurses had got COVID. It was like one time, like, because I work at the hospital and like 20
I'm
nurses.
sorry, I'm from Peoria. I'm in Peoria right now. I'm sorry. I'm in Peoria.
Hi. Yeah. And it was bad. So a lot of nurses had got COVID. Like 20 nurses on our floor had got COVID and got really badly sick. And so I had to deal with that. And then I came home and I still had COVID, but it wasn't as bad. And I lived with my mother, and she ended up getting COVID from me, unfortunately. And my mom ended up dying earlier this year, beginning of January. So 2021 has been really like devastating. And it's been really hard because like with my depression and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to cry. With my depression and anxiety, my mom was my support system. Oh my God, I'm crying. Sorry.
That's okay.
My mom was my support system. And like, so like, I have no one. Like, even though I have sisters, they're not there for me. I'm the youngest, so like they have like their husbands and their kids. So like they don't really care for me. So I'm like so alone. It's like really hurtful because like my depression gets really worse. And it's so sad because like I know at my age, because I'm 27, I know I'm supposed to be like grown and able to handle myself and handle things and stuff. But like my mom took so much care of me that I don't know how. And so like starting over is like really, really hard. It's like really hard trying to deal with it.
I can only
And
imagine. I can only imagine.
and
Well, I'm
like
glad you're able to, call in and share your story with us. And, a lot of people in the chat are sending you condolences and prayers and things like that. So I definitely hope that, I know it's not easy, but I just definitely hope that you get some comfort from that at least.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for calling in and sharing your story.
I'm sorry for crying.
No, you're fine. Girl, I be out there balling too sometimes. Don't feel bad.
I
But
love
thank
you
again.
too.
Love you too, and thank you for the support, sis.
Thank you.
Can I add just one thing, T? If you look at the chat, there are thousands of people who are writing you, telling you like, hey, if you want to talk, send them a message. There are some people who actually told you they inbox you and stuff like that. So just go through the chat and get in touch with all the people who said, hey, talk to me, hey, write me, or go to your inbox. You're gonna find thousands of people showing you love there.
Yep, I do. I see it. See, and this is what it's about, is connecting with people who you never know might be going through the same thing as you. I know there's, quite a few people who've lost family members, parents, and things like that this year too. So hopefully people will be able to connect on that level. It's almost 8 o'clock. I'm gonna take 2 more calls and then we're gonna get out of here. So let me go ahead and bring on KG. I know his hand's been up for a while. KG 2549.
Hey, good evening to you. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I just wanted to, well, one thing was I want to touch on was Wade Nizzle. When she said, talking about the draining friends, I actually had a situation that took place a couple of days where I had to basically I felt bad afterwards, but I kind of ran my buddy down into the ground a little bit because, like, doing all this, I suffer from anxiety as well. So, during the whole pandemic, me being in Florida, my family's in Indiana. I had a couple of friends that died, due to COVID. One of them, he died 2 days after his daughter was born. So, like, I've been trying to do my part, help out with that. But like, I had to take a mental break because everybody's always reaching out to me. I'm always there for everybody. Can find the words to help everybody, but when it comes, when I need a little help or some words of encouragement, it's just crickets.
Right. Or
But,
they think you're strong enough to just handle whatever is thrown at you.
yeah. And they downplay it. Oh, you got this, you stuff like that. They just minimize my issue. So like, he got mad at me or whatever, and was like, you're not being a good friend, this, that, and the other. And I'm just like, dog, I can't help you until I help myself. You know what I'm saying? It goes like the saying, you can't love nobody until you love yourself. I can't help you until I help myself. And I was all kind of names after that. So I was just kind of like ran them down in the ground, but I felt bad about it. But then, but I've been getting through everything, like reading up on teas, gardening, things like that. And one thing that I came across was I have this plant it just grows from a little leaf from Jamaica called the tree of life. And you actually can take the leaves and boil it. So I boil that and I make a tea out of it. And and then I grow soursop. So I take the soursop leaves and make a tea out of that as well. So I just like do different teas. It helps me relax. I got my diffuser, like just everything. I got into mindful meditation, like I said, gardening. And that pretty much that helped me get a grasp for myself a little bit. And because like I lost myself once the pandemic hit and we were like locked down or whatever. I didn't know what to do with myself. I can't write a poem to save my life. And I used to be like really big into writing poetry. And I can't write a poem for nothing unless I'm like really, really upset. That's the only time I can write a poem. So yeah, just the pandemic's been a little hard. It's been stressful. Like I said, I've been kind of standoffish. I've been seeing that I'm becoming more standoffish towards people. Like I used to talk to my mom on a daily basis. We probably talk like every other day. I mean, we still text daily, but so far as getting on the phone or FaceTime, it's probably like every other day now.
Mm-hmm.
And then one last thing I want to say to my herbal smokers out there, if you have anxiety, one thing that I did learn, rose petals. It does, if you smoke with the rose petals, it does help with the anxiety. It actually relaxes your body.
You talking about real rose petals from roses?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I didn't know if it was like a rose petal named, weed. Y'all know y'all have weed names, honey. I can't keep up.
No, it's actual rose petals. I learned about it actually because like they have these little pop-ups down here, these secret pop-ups. So I go to them every now and then. One of the vendors, she had it and she was telling me about it. And I actually bought a couple of them off of her and they really work. And if you don't want to roll, if you can't figure out how to roll it, just let the leaf dry out. Take about 3 leaves, let them dry out, crumble it up, and you can just roll it up inside and smoke it that way. And then you can also smoke lavender, but you want to do like little bits at a time. Now that's more for a nighttime. For like if you have anxiety, you can't find yourself like falling asleep because your mind's racing. Then if you do the lavender, that'll help you, and it also help you go to sleep as well.
Okay. Well, that's a nice tip for some folks. I see a lot of people agreeing with that.
I'm very big on natural and organic stuff, so I wanted to put that out there because it actually works. I was like, when I first heard about the rose petals, I was like, I don't know, that doesn't seem right. Like it's a rose petal. Like, ain't it toxic? Can it be toxic if you smoke it? So I did a little bit more research on my own, but yeah, it actually works. So
good. Well, I appreciate you calling in. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. So let me go ahead and take one more call. I'm gonna bring on Cheese McSkittles because I've never seen this name before. So Cheese McSkittles, go ahead and unmute your microphone.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Well, I like to try to join sometimes, when I drive trucks, my schedule is crazy. So I catch it whenever I can.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So
today.
Oh yeah. That was awesome. I was like, I'm over here tired, but but as far as the pandemic goes and how that affects people, I would say like anybody that's close to you, like as far as family or close friends, you have to, because we can't have that physical interaction with everybody, you have to at least make the effort to communicate with them through like this, like Zoom or Facebook, as far as the video chat and stuff go, because me and my family, like we're real close. And we're used to this is extremely different. Like it's hard not giving my mom a hug and stuff like that. Is like it takes a toll, and like I know it takes a toll like on her. She's in the house all the time. My little sister lives there, but she's in her room most of the time, and my pops, he works, so she's there by herself all the time. So I worry about her mental health more than anything, but me and my sisters, we get together whenever we can. But as far as exposing my mom, them is my pops, he's not gonna have that. We're not allowed in the house or anything. It's not like we be around a lot of people, but but me and my sister just came from a vacation celebrating my sister's birthday down in Florida. But it shocked me that a lot of people down there don't wear masks.
Yeah, a lot of stuff down south is wide open. Florida, Atlanta, Texas, Tennessee. Yeah. So now let me ask you, because you're a truck driver, due to the COVID, did you see like an increase in your work as well, like having to deliver stuff, being out on the road more than usual? Because I know a lot of my trucker friends, they've been out more since COVID.
Oh yeah. When I was over the road, I was, but I switched up and got a dedicated route to where I'm home every weekend now.
Okay.
Yeah, it was it was bad. It was good mileage, but
yeah,
terrible. You could get stuff where when the pandemic, it was a relief when everybody was home. Now I can say that part. When everybody was home and you was able to get to your destination, not have to worry about traffic. Now that was the good part, but other than that, it sucks.
yeah, because people
Really
forget,
sucks.
like, with truck drivers, you guys are on the road for so long, so many hours,
Yeah,
and you spend a lot of time where you don't see your family. You're not able to
yeah.
be home, all the time. Sometimes you miss everything that goes on the weekends, like parties and clubs and events, because you have to be on the road to deliver items.
Oh yeah, and but I don't know when stuff like that comes around, like even like when we had to deliver like FEMA loads and all that stuff when the hurricane hit and everything, like that type of stuff. It gives you like a sort of sense of pride, being able to try to at least get stuff there and help people out, do the little bit that you can, so. But other than that, if I could say one thing, I started cooking in my truck and everything. No more buying all the fast food or anything out there. So I cook in my truck and steer clear of people. You just got to be as safe as possible. But you definitely have to communicate with your family and close ones, for real. And if you have somebody, you need just like, you don't even need a lot of people. One person. You need you have the support system is everything that you need right now during this pandemic.
Amen. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I really appreciate you calling in. It was good to get a chance to talk to you.
Oh, thank you. It was nice talking to you too.
Definitely.
Everybody stay blessed and prayed up, and I wish the best for everybody.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
So this was an awesome Zoom meeting, you guys. So I'm sorry we didn't get to everyone, but you know how it gets here. Like the hands go up, and it takes a while to get through to everyone. But I really appreciate you guys coming through, sharing your story, sharing what you've been through, and definitely, use this as an opportunity to reach out to each other and message each other, check on each other, and things like that. Because as we can see, a lot of people got shady friends who don't check on us. So we need to check on each other, okay? So on that note, you guys, thank you so much. I will see you guys in the Discord. So thank y'all for coming through, and you guys have a good night.
Bye.
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 Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.